Hi, this video is part of the series on successful mindset strategies, and today I will be talking specifically about optimism and pessimism, and I will be talking about, in general terms, how you can see whether you are more drawn towards one kind of mindset over the other, and also in particular life events, in particular situations, how you frame that event, if it is more in an optimistic way or a pessimistic way. And there are three dimensions that you can evaluate to kind of see whether or not you have more of this optimistic or this pessimistic view on things. So why is this important? There are many studies that show that having an optimistic mindset is beneficial, not only in terms of health benefits, but also in overall life success. So it really is positive to cultivate this positive attitude and keep that pessimism contained. So first of all, how can you see whether or not you have this optimistic or this pessimistic mindset in general terms? This is as easy as to understand when you go through life, are you that kind of person that sees the light at the end of the tunnel, that sees that things can always go well and it's always hopeful that things can turn for the best? Or you're that kind of person that thinks everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and kind of see things in from a darker perspective, and then very rarely looks at the light at the end of the tunnel, but instead thinks that life is hard and things go wrong all the time. So why would they work this time? That in general terms can give you an idea of where you position yourself in this spectrum of optimism and pessimism. But if we want to look into specific life events, this can become a little bit more interesting, because then you can really evaluate how you frame things, if they are framed in an optimistic or pessimistic way. So in this regard, there are three things that you can ask yourself when you are evaluating a life event, something that happened that you are trying to process within you. And let's say that you are studying Spanish, and in the final exam it was quite important that you would pass that exam, but you failed. So there are three things you can ask yourself when you are trying to digest that information that you actually failed an important exam. So first of all is to ask yourself, how are you perceiving this? Are you giving this an internal reason or an external reason? So if you are giving it an internal reason, then you are saying that it is your fault. You have not studied enough. Maybe you don't have the capacities for languages, and you are putting pretty much the blame on yourself. Or are you giving it an external reason? So you're saying that this exam was too hard, this level was too advanced, I had a rough morning that morning. You're putting the blame on something external for it. So that it would be one thing that you would ask yourself about the event. Another thing would be to ask, are you giving it a stable reason or a temporary reason? So in this example, it would be something like, a stable reason would be, I am not good at Spanish. It's difficult for me to learn new languages. It's difficult for me to do this kind of exam. This is a stable thing over time. On the other hand, if you give it a temporary reason, then you would say, this particular exam was very hard, or in this moment in time, I'm so stressed with other things, so it was harder for me to focus on this particular task. I've had a rough year, so therefore maybe this wasn't the right time to do this kind of exam anyway. So then it would be a temporary reason instead. And the third thing that you could ask yourself is whether you're giving this event a global reason or if you're giving it a specific reason. So a global would be, let's say again, I am terrible at learning languages. I will never be able to learn a new language, and I might just give up on this. On the other hand, if you give it a specific reason, then you would say, I'm having a tough time with Spanish, but this is maybe this level was too advanced. Maybe I should try the level below, or this particular exam was tougher than I expected. This particular school is too demanding. Something that would be more specific and not that you could, go around or find another way, instead of this global thing that is just, like it's more rigid. So as you see, when you are giving an internal and stable and global reason for what happened, it becomes very rigid, and it brings the blame all to yourself. So it is much harder to handle the life events in this agile way, that you can think, you know what, I failed this time, but I will succeed for the next time. As when you say that, this was an external reason, this was temporary, and this was very specific, it kind of frames it in a way that it makes much easier for you to say, you know what, in these circumstances it didn't work, but it will work in other circumstances, so I don't have to give up, because there is hope. That is something that I would recommend you to practice whenever you have something that is hard for you to handle, that it's hard for you to wrap your head around. Maybe you can ask yourself these 3 questions, and this can help you seeing what kind of mindset you're having around it, and can also help you to shift your mindset towards a more optimistic one, and therefore also more hopeful, and help you to see other ways to deal with the situation. That is it for today. I will be continue talking about this next week, where I will be talking about how to rewire your brain, or how to train your brain to become more optimistic, to be more naturally optimistic towards life events. So if that is something that interests you, I hope to see you next week. And in the meantime, thank you for watching.